Alright, hey Barristers. I am doing a quick walkthrough on the Dragon Prince Battlecharged, which is a really fast-paced miniatures game. Really great intro for just anyone that wants to get into miniatures and needs something that's a little less intimidating than some of the bigger ones that we have. So right now this is just a standalone. Everything you need is in the box to start playing. We'll start with components so people know what they're looking at and get into a little bit of the gameplay. So when you're looking at components, you're going to be setting it up depending on the number of players. So for a 2-player game, which I have set up here, each player will pick 2 characters for their team. In this case, I have Rayla and Claudia on this side for one team, Soren and Amaya for another. Each figure is separate, they don't have bases, but when you pick your team, you can snap on colored bases for your team. So we have purple and we have red, so that you know whose is whose. You'll also be getting that character's basic card, which will show their portrait, of course, their name, and some very simple information about them. This is a character I'm not using, but this is Janai. She has a basic movement of 3, meaning she can move 3 squares on her turn. She has a range of 1, so she can only hit 1 square away. And whenever she makes that basic attack, that is 2 damage immediately to the target. There is no rolling of dice or anything to see if anything hits. Attacks are just automatic. But each character will also have their own special ability. So in this case, Janai, at the end of the turn, if Janai did not move and she stayed exactly where she was the entire time, you can charge 3. Charging refers to the blue spot. This is going to be charges that you'll be needing to save up in order to use techniques. Certain techniques will cost nothing, but other ones will cost a lot. She'll also have a very basic health, so 6. As you whittle away at health, when a character falls, they are knocked out. They'll be down for the rest of that turn, but they'll come back standing at full health for the next one. To win the game, you need to knock out your opponent 3 times, and it doesn't have to be a total party knockout. You just have to knock down at one of their characters, or a mixture of characters 3 times during the game. So here we've already got a setup. Rayla has a starting technique of 3 points, Claudia has 2 points, Soren has 2 points, and Amaya has 3 points. You can gain more charges than that over the course of the game, depending on cards that you use, or even dependent on their own abilities. So when you're actually setting them up as well, you're going to be grabbing some cards to make up the deck. The deck will be your actions and attacks and extra movements and things like that. You will have 2 halves of a whole. Each character will have their own half stack that you're going to combine with their other one. And again, this is for a 2-player game. If you play 3 players, you're going to have one person with 2 characters, so they'll have 1 bigger deck, and the other 2 will have 1 character each. So it's 2 against 1. Those other 2 will team up with 1 character each. In a 4-player game, there are 4 players with 1 character each, so they'll have just a little half deck. But again, this is very quick paced as we actually go into it. And so in this case, we'll start with Rayla and Claudia for their turn. We're going to draw the 7 cards for them. 1, 2, 6, 7. So that's their deck, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for Soren and Amaya. So starting with Rayla and Claudia, you're going to see a variety of different cards in your hand. Some of them are going to be a move action. You can use this with any character, despite whatever character is actually shown on it, but this will change their movement to 4 for that turn. It replaces their basic movement. You're going to have attacks in here. These are character specific if you're not using their basic attack. So this has a range of 1 and 2 damage. It's the same as Rayla's basic attack, except that when you use this attack, you can move her, specifically Rayla, 3 movement, and that's going to be on top of whatever other basic movement you may have already used. And then there are techniques. So techniques are generally free to play. You can use as many as you want in a turn, but they have to make sense. you know, do the whole strategizing on your own. For this one, you choose an ally, and they can charge 1 point, and for each card that you discard, meaning that you put into the discard pile, they heal 1. But this one specifically has a dark symbol, so only characters that have a dark symbol on their basic card will be able to use it. So Rayla could not use this card herself, even though they're on the same team. And then Claudia will have her own attack, but this one actually costs something. This one costs 2 technique points. If you were to use this, you would knock down 2 points on your technique die. She has a range of 3, and her damage goes up to 2. So these you can use, the attacks in general you can use in place of their basic attack. And these generally are better if you do have them in your hand, but again, they are character specific, so sometimes you're just stuck with using their basic attack if there's nothing good in your hand to use. But as long as you have the technique points, you can always use them. As long as you have the cards in your hand, you can always use them. There is no limit to what you can do for techniques, reacts, or ongoings. But your move and your attack cards, they are 1 per turn. Another thing to worry about is shields. So when you play a card that has a shield on it, such as this one, you can see that he'll gain a shield for every attack. Or against 1 attack, rather. For each 2 charges that he spends, so this is specifically a Soren reaction card, he'll gain an additional shield. So 2 more things. Shields will guard against an attack. If that attack coming against him does not have a shield breaker, which looks like this on the bottom, a shield breaking, then the attack will not go through, but it will expend the shield of the defending player. Reacts, though, they can only be played during your opponent's turn. They are specifically in reaction to an attack being made against that particular character. And then you basically just keep going back and forth, attacking each other. So whenever you do manage to get a knockout, meaning that the character's hit points have been reduced to 0, the opponent who knocked them out will get a token to show that they have 1 knockout on their belts. So that particular character would fall for the round. They won't get back up until that next turn. So Rayla would go, Claudia would go, they would continue that, and then on Soren and Maya's next turn, they would stand back up. Whoever gets 3 of these tokens first is the winner of the game.